The night sky had never looked so empty. In New York City, people gathered on rooftops, staring upward with anxious eyes, searching for the satellites they once took for granted. In London, the Thames reflected only darkness. No glowing streaks of passing spacecraft, no comforting hum of orbital traffic. It was as though the stars themselves had gone silent. On television screens across both nations, breaking news banners screamed, "Global satellite blackout, space stations unresponsive. Is this the end?" Jonas Hales sat in his small Rhode Island apartment, gripping the armrest of his wheelchair. His mind, however, was racing far beyond his physical limitations. Diagnosed with ALS at just 32, he had once been a rising star in cognitive neuroscience before his body betrayed him. But Jonas had never stopped thinking. His fingers danced across his neural interface laptop, pulling up schematics and running simulations. Across the Atlantic, Commander Aisha Patel in London's underground Global Defense Command barked orders into a headset, her heart pounding as rows of screens flickered with static. "Find me anything. A signal, a ping. I don't care how faint. We need eyes in the sky," she shouted. But there was nothing, just a suffocating silence that seemed to press in from the heavens themselves. In the United States, Admiral Marcus Hawkins stood in a war room beneath the Pentagon, staring grimly at a holographic map of the Earth. Entire continents glowed red where communications had failed. For the first time in decades, the U.S. military was blind. His voice, steady but tense, filled the room. "This isn't natural. Someone or something did this. And if we don't act fast, humanity's days are numbered." Mick. As fear spread, people turned to social media for answers, but even that began to fail. Some whispered of rogue AI satellites turning on their creators. Others spoke of alien invaders, cutting humanity off from the galaxy. But Jonas saw a different pattern in the data. This wasn't an attack to destroy us. It was something far more terrifying. "Whoever's out there, Jonas murmured to himself, "they're not trying to kill us. They're trying to shut us up." And in that moment, Jonas realized the chilling truth. Humanity's constant chatter, radio waves, satellites, deep space signals, had been so loud, so reckless that it had drawn attention. Someone had heard us, and they didn't like what they heard. Governments scrambled. In London, Parliament debated launching nuclear satellites as a show of strength. In Washington, D.C., the president ordered the assembly of a joint task force with Britain. But Jonas knew force wouldn't save them. If the blackout was a warning, aggression could invite annihilation. Through sheer determination, Jonas got through to the task force leaders. "I may not be able to walk," he said in a secure video call, his voice steady despite his shaking hands. "But I can give you a way to fight back. Not with weapons, but with understanding." The team was skeptical, but desperate. Together with Dr. Rowan Mackenzie, a sharp-minded AI specialist from Manchester, and Claire Rodriguez, a NASA engineer from Houston, Jonas began building a device that could cut through the silence, a neural amplifier they called MindBridge. If it worked, they could restore humanity's voice, but in a way that didn't scream into the cosmos like a panicked child. As the team worked, chaos spread on Earth. In London, food shortages triggered riots. In New York, blackout looters clashed with police. The world was unraveling. People aged 10 to 40, children, teens, young adults, watched helplessly as their futures seemed to collapse. Yet amid the fear, Jonas's quiet courage inspired hope. One night, while testing MindBridge, Jonas's heart nearly stopped as the first signal came through. It wasn't human. A strange musical pulse vibrated through the lab speakers, like 1,000 voices humming in unison. The message was simple but devastating. "You are too loud. The void is not yours to fill." Jonas stared at the waveform on his screen, his mind racing. This wasn't an alien fleet coming to conquer. This was a warning from civilizations far older and wiser than humanity. To them, we were the noisy newcomers, dangerous because we didn't know when to stay quiet. "They don't fear our weapons," Jonas said to his stunned team. "They fear our ignorance." The world held its breath as Jonas volunteered to join the first deep space mission to confront the unknown. Despite his failing body, he insisted on going. "If we don't understand them, all of us are dead anyway," he said. On June 2nd, 2094, a British-American shuttle launched from Kennedy Space Center, carrying Jonas, Commander Patel, and Colonel Foster, a veteran astronaut. As they soared past the moon, Jonas looked out at the stars, whispering, "We're not killers. We're just trying to survive." When they reached the source of the blackout, a shimmering geometric structure beyond Pluto, Jonas sent a message through MindBridge. "We didn't mean to disturb you, but we are not what you think. Yes, we are loud. Yes, we are flawed. But we are also capable of kindness, courage, and learning." For what felt like an eternity, there was silence. Then the structure pulsed with light. The voice returned, not angry now, but curious. "Show us. Whisper your story." When Aurora 1 returned to Earth, Jonas was hailed as the man who saved humanity, not by proving humans were the galaxy's greatest warriors, but by showing we were its greatest learners. In Times Square and Trafalgar Square, millions gathered as Jonas spoke through a neural transmitter. We've been shouting into the universe, assuming it was empty, but it's full of life, and life listens. We have a choice. Be the species that destroys everything it touches, or the species that learns to listen. The world changed. Nations signed the Global Silence Accord, promising to communicate responsibly with the cosmos. Children were taught not just to dream of reaching the stars, but to respect the voices already there. And Jonas Hale, once bound to a wheelchair, became a symbol of humanity's greatest strength. Not our machines, not our armies, but our ability to grow. Power doesn't come from shouting the loudest or striking the hardest. True power comes from understanding and choosing to be better than your worst instincts.